Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Clinton Bonner from TopCoder. We got a special treat today. If you are a fan of space exploration, if you're a fan of energy exploration, heck, if you're a fan of energy exploration that's taking place in space, well, again, we've got a really nice treat for you today. I'm sitting down via Skype with Bill Spetch from NASA. Bill is the manager of the Vehicle Integrated Performance, Environments, and Resources team for the International Space Station. And NASA is about to launch a very exciting Open Innovation Challenge that's based in with some crowdsourcing principles, and again, of course, using some of the principles around open innovation. And it's going to be a really fantastic algorithmic challenge that's going to be going out to a global audience to try and solve a particularly complex issue. So I'll take a breath here and introduce Bill Spetch. Bill, can you say hi to everybody who's watching?
Hello, everyone. Glad I could be here.
Thank you so much, Bill. We definitely do appreciate it for sure. Bill, if you can, as concisely but put some meat on the bones. Can you describe to the viewers what is this challenge that's taking place on the International Space Station? What's it all about? What's it seeking to accomplish?
Sure. Well, as with everything in our world today, the space station runs on electricity. And we generate that electricity from the sun using rather large solar panels. And because those solar panels are so large and because of where our orbit is, we have some problems with the rays shadowing each other. And when you get a shadow on a solar array, you don't get any power out of it. So we have to manage those shadows to generate enough power to do the really neat science that we get to do on space station every day, and to try to really maximize this use out of this world-class laboratory in space.
Gotcha. So essentially you've got the very famous International Space Station floating above Earth, and what is it, whizzing around at something like 17,000 miles an hour. Is that remotely accurate? Right? Something around there, right? And if you can't get enough energy to that station because of all the conditions that are in space, then it's gonna just basically limit how much you can get done up there and how much science you could actually perform on inside that station. Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, that is correct. We use power for just about every experiment that we do up there, and the more experiments we can do, the more discoveries we can make, and the better use of our investment.
So, Bill, can you just describe to the audience how this challenge is being set up and what it's being run on?
Sure. Through the NASA Tournament Lab, in cooperation with TopCoder, we got approached to look at some problems that we have and opportunities to get the general public involved in helping us solve some of those issues. And so in this case, we're running a problem that is centered around a couple times a year where we have very limited power generation on space station due to the angle of the sun and our orbit. And so it was a great opportunity for us to take something and try to expand our capabilities using the innovative capabilities of everybody out there.
Gotcha. That's a perfect use of crowdsourcing and open innovation in general. So you mentioned the times of years. Now, specifically, are there other benefits to the station that maybe it's not happening in the times of years where you do have, let's say this, I'm assuming, since you're mentioning times of years, there are other times of years where this is a bit easier for you to navigate the station, and then some times of year where it's a little bit more difficult. Can this solution also help you in both of those seasons, if you will?
The solution we're really looking for is only for those times of years, unfortunately. The other parts of the year, it's actually very easy to keep shadows off the solar arrays. When we're, as we like to call it, boring holes in the sky, circling around, our arrays are rotating and following the sun. And when the sun's going directly overhead of the space station, they point great and they don't shadow each other. You can see from some of the pictures that you can find online. When that sun angle gets really wide out on the space station, you'll see those occur right around the solstices. So in December and January timeframe, and also again in May, June, and July. Then it becomes a much more difficult problem. And for those couple weeks out of the year, now all of a sudden we have to really ramp back on what we're doing on orbit.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. And I would imagine since the station's been in orbit, this has been a reality. This has been kind of an ongoing issue. So, is this the first crack at trying to solve this challenge, or has there been other attempts previously?
Well, obviously it's going right now, and we actually just flew through one of these cases here right over the new year. We hit one of these sun angles that this challenge is all about. So we do have a solution that sustains the space station, and now what we're looking to do is really expand on that capability and take advantage of maybe using some other resources as opposed to the ones that we have tied up operating the space station every day to try to get a little bit more.
Gotcha. That makes good sense on this end. So let's again, hoping of course that the challenge goes smoothly and that you get some extreme value outcomes back from the community and you get some amazing results. This type of discovery, does it lend itself to be repurposed by NASA for other purposes or even other things that are happening on the ISS itself?
I think certainly that this contest has the potential to branch into other areas where we have issues dealing with solar arrays and power generation. Perhaps not this exact type of solution, but the idea would be to branch into, say, other operations where maybe we have to stop our solar arrays from rotating and optimize situations like that, such as when vehicles are coming to dock or undock from the space station. Having to deal with thruster plumes, they cause structural issues on our solar arrays. We have to put them in certain spots. And you could expand this type of challenge out to something more.
Great, I appreciate that. Something sometimes it's a little difficult for people to understand how a real world problem can be shaped and presented to an open innovation community or a community that's using crowdsourcing. Can you give a little color as to what goes on in this is obviously a pretty complex problem. So what kind of legwork has to happen beforehand so that the information can then be digestible by a massive community so that you can extract some of the genius that's out there so they can work on your problem, so they can provide excellent solutions. That was kind of hitting the fast forward button, but there's a lot that happens there. Can you give a little color as to like some of the intricacies of that space and time?
Sure. What we had to do really to make this challenge come to life is we had to go to our very complicated engineering models of the power system and how these solar arrays operate, how their efficiencies change over time. And we had to simplify those into a format that would be usable by the community, get it into a form that is something that requires just the basic inputs that we have, and really simplify the geometry and as much as makes sense while still maintaining enough detail to get a solution that's useful to us. And so basically building a new model up, a very simplified model, but still useful to us to run the contest with.
Got it. Sounds like there's a good deal of some obviously a good deal of forethought and then some real keen isolation of the challenge and then bubbling it to the mathematics and allowing the algorithms to kind of come do their thing. So it does have that benefit back to NASA when you try to make it a real world solution once it's out of competition, right?
Right. Exactly.
Very cool, very cool. So, just on a personal level, so have you always been kind of an engineering geek, for the lack of better terms? Are you like a Star Trek fan, Star Wars? You love space. Obviously, you're working with NASA. You're helping to maneuver the ISS. It's a pretty great job. What's a little bit of your backstory? How did you get down this path?
Well, to be honest with you, I started off really wanting to fly airplanes and fly fighter jets, and well, my eyes didn't cooperate with me. So what I decided to do was get into designing the airplanes. I was always very fascinated with flight, and I was always very fascinated with space. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd end up working for NASA. I always thought I'd be designing airplanes or something along those lines, or working in the aerospace industry, but definitely not at this level. And I can't tell you how excited I was when the call came in and said, "Hey, we want to hire you to come down here and work on the International Space Station."
That's a pretty cool call.
Yeah, I had to replay the message about 3 times when I got it at the house. So it's really great. I really have the best job ever because within NASA, not only doing human spaceflight, which is just amazing stuff, sure. International Space Station, the most complicated undertaking mankind has ever done. And I'm running the team that's responsible for making all the systems work together in harmony. and it's really cool, and it's really a dream come true to be able to work on a project like this and see the discoveries that we're going to make.
Very cool. And well, congrats on the career path there, and of course, much success on this, on this endeavor, and all the ones that are going to follow it, of course. So, if anybody out there is interested in learning more about this particular challenge, they can go to www.topcoder/ISS. So it's www.topcoder/ISS, where you can go and check out a video. You can go and check out all the information about how you can compete, how you can register to compete, and really find out about how the ISS works, and really hone in on what they're trying to solve here and what types of solutions they're looking for. Bill, I'd love to give you the last word. Is there any bit of advice or encouragement you'd like to give to this global talent pool that's out there that's about to help you guys crack this code, if you will?
I'm really looking forward to seeing the solutions that folks come back with. I'm really hoping we gain some additional power margins out of this, and the folks out there will be able to say that they contributed to the research that we're doing on ISS that can lead to unknown discoveries. And it's really amazing stuff, the research that we're doing on ISS in this laboratory, and they're going to have a direct impact on the amount of that science and the discoveries that we're going to make.
Perfect. Really summed it up nicely for everybody out there that's going to be involved. So, and Bill, thank you so much for taking the time. For those who don't know it out there, this is attempt number 2 on our Skype conversation. First one was a no-go. So, Bill, you've been gracious with your time, and I'd like to thank everybody at NASA that's also been gracious in helping us set this up. Great luck in the competition going forward, and maybe we can do a recap call when the competition is all said and done.
Yeah, I'd love to. This was great, and I'm looking forward to it.